All right, what is going on, everyone? This is the Heartland Daily Podcast. I'm your host today, Andy Singer, here with Max Rice. Now, Max and I went to high school together and recently reconnected because he popped up on my Facebook. I looked at his profile and there was a lot of stuff about like energy freedom and just general conservative points of view. And I'm like, oh, damn, I got to talk to this guy. Max, how you doing today?
Terrible for posting conservative stuff on Facebook.
I know, right? I actually saw that. And I'm like, all right, so how many relationships have you ruined by posting?
Just very wholesome people.
Yeah, no, actually, that's a real question now. Have you had people from your past like come onto your Facebook and be like, Max, how could you post things like this or anything like that?
Yeah, and then it's like, you find out, like, I thought, I'm like, because you'll find I'm a very unfiltered person.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I can't believe you posted that. You're an embarrassment. You shouldn't go outside. And then I'm like, what did I post?
Yeah.
And it's like, you equated Biden's corruption to Trump's corruption.
Oh, well, you can't be doing that.
I'm like, yeah, no, I should never cancel me.
So for those of you that are listening to the audio version of this podcast, we are also recording this on video. So head to YouTube, the Heartland Institute's channel, and you can actually watch our beautiful faces. And I guarantee you they're incredibly beautiful. Also, if you are watching the video and you notice we keep looking to the side, we're in the same room, but we're going through different cameras. So occasionally we're going to be looking at each other, but that's cool. So Max, the presidential debate was last night and it was civil, which I don't think anyone expected, the second presidential debate. I mean, initial reactions, I'm not talking about just the climate change part, which is what we will focus on, but what did you think of the debate?
I wish we had more.
You wish we had more? Yeah.
Because I wanted a push-up contest or...
I know, right? Come on, Fat. Let's do some push-ups.
Yeah, no, because I do like the entertainment value of
Agreed.
Debates, and it did lack in that area, but Trump did a lot of strategic things
that
I think may have just like delivered him a win.
Yeah, no, I definitely can see that. Like, first off, I expected more of the first debate, even with the presence of the mute button, which they added in there, which I'm not 100% sure if they ever used during the entire debate, which I thought was interesting. But I don't know if this was Trump's plan to be really civil in the second debate and is more of like, okay, I'll just come out and I'll be like the alpha in the first debate, which I would argue he absolutely was. And then the second debate, he's like, all right, now I'll actually talk about issues. But it completely struck me by surprise.
Yeah, because on the issue, because like that's his biggest strengths is because like everyone kind of hates on him for not issue things.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, he said this, or he acts this way,
well,
or he puts ketchup on steak.
Yeah, they hate his personality, which I mean, personally, I like his personality. I know it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. I think he is, without a doubt, the funniest guy in politics. I think he's hilarious.
He'd be a top 5 stand-up. I'd say that. And
I mean, that's kind of what his rallies are. They're stand-up. But all right. So for the most part, let's focus on
a lot of his most controversial statements too are just stand up as well.
Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, they'll completely misconstrue things he said, like in rallies or whatever, when they're completely said in jest. Which I mean, I guess is fair, but when you print it down and you don't actually have any of the context added in there, it's kind of a ridiculous and highly misleading tactic.
Yeah, that's worse because the worst case scenario, there's bad intent. The best case scenario, which is also scary, is they just lack a sense of humor.
Yeah. Right.
Because that's that kind of keeps us grounded and that gives us a sense of reality.
Yeah. All right. So then the climate change portion of the debate, that was near the end. They didn't get too much time to it because both candidates kept going over their time for the rest of it. But I've got some clips prepared. So let's check out just like what initially they said in the climate change portion of the debate, and then let's talk about it some. So rolling the first clip, if I can get to it. Oh, I didn't share it yet. All right. Give me a moment. Cool.
White noise.
We're running out of time, so we got to get on to climate change, please. You both have very different visions on climate change. President Trump, you say that environmental regulations have hurt jobs in the energy sector. Vice President Biden, you have said you see addressing climate change as an opportunity to create new jobs. For each of you, how would you both combat climate change and support job growth at the same time? Starting with you, President Trump, you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So can we stop right there?
Yeah, I was thinking
but just like words. Combat climate change.
Yeah,
doesn't that kind of sound like Don Quixote?
Like
like our harps or conspiracy. Like what? We got to control the weather.
We gotta go battle the climate.
How do you control the weather? And obviously they're both going to answer the questions because they're politicians.
Yeah,
I'm going to change the weather.
If you would like
second term,
the weather, we will no longer have rain. Yeah. Snow will be better. No more slush.
It'll be crisper.
Yeah. I mean, overall,
I'll set the temperature to 57.
Yeah, right. It'll be the same 70, dry, no humidity every day. It'll be the most beautiful weather in the world.
No, but just like as someone in energy, I do think from the fundamental level, the debate on energy is at such a low level.
Yeah, actually, I didn't ask you that, but I should. So you are in the energy sector.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
If you're a liberal, or if you disagree with me on anything, I'm not in the energy sector.
You're not in the energy sector.
I know I am, and so my bias actually is to the other side. Like I am, like I like to keep it honest, but if the Green New Deal goes in, I'm in the bank.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Biden, Biden would be probably the better move.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these.
But I'm more scared about because I think if his policies would literally endanger lives and raise the average cost.
But on a personal level, it would enrich you.
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of.
So I gotta weigh the two.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Obamacare thing. Like when that passed through, it was the greatest thing in the world for the big insurance companies. And it damaged people. Like a lot of these things will say, "Oh, it's for the people," and it hurts the big companies. But they generally are hand in hand with.
And
the
you
big
can see a great
companies
preview to what an Biden administration would be like by looking at Obama's administration.
Yeah.
And their energy policies weren't actually solving anything. They weren't changing the weather.
Oh no,
it was cash for clunkers and Solyndra and a lot of just
if you actually
bureaucratic
look at the temperature impacts on a lot of the policies, I think they were the CAFE standards for vehicles. Yeah. I mean, it was like 1/100 of a degree was the total effect, or it may have been 1,000.
And anyone watching this, a lot of people probably financially, because a lot of people can't withstand any financial. It's like a $400 financial given.
Yeah.
But a lot of people's cars got priced out because of the standards, where they couldn't even drive your car.
Oh, it's actually a huge problem for lower income people.
Yeah, they have to give up a day of work.
The rich people can deal with this. It's the people that have the lowest incomes and the least disposable income that these policies hurt the most.
Yeah.
All right, but let's check out the beginning of this.
Yeah, sorry, climate change. We're fighting the climate.
We have the Trillion Trees program. We have so many different programs. I do love the environment.
Okay, so if because that's one thing that is another pet peeve of mine is if you do want to get rid of carbon, if your goal is to reduce carbon, the most time-tested, proven thing that we could do is to plant trees.
I mean, yeah, they literally take carbon dioxide out and convert it into
oxygen. But what the liberals, what Trump should highlight, I hope he does at some point, and Biden's not talking about, is if you look at the U.S. energy policy, we consider trees, biomass, green energy.
Yeah.
And nuclear not. Nuclear's waste, which totally reduces carbon.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, nuclear.
And then trees, which absorb carbon, we're literally chopping them down. So that's a negative there. But they're renewable because they grow back in 100 years. It's ridiculous. And so that's a huge loophole that's kind of exploited because you now have a financial incentive to create energy from trees. And I think it's 1.5% of all electricity in America.
It's just from burning trees?
Biomass, yes.
Okay, I assume that's as far as environmental concerns go. Again, I'm not a huge person that thinks that carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is dooming humanity, but I assume that burning trees is not the cleanest way to produce energy at all.
No.
Yeah.
Not worth it. and just doesn't that how Ebenezer Scrooge is that? And then a lot of the people that are a lot of Al Gore types. I think even Al Gore himself have financial ties to these companies.
Oh yeah.
So it's a huge.
Oh, I mean, I've looked into it before. Al Gore, I mean, he absolutely got rich on the environmental movement. That was a huge thing for him. And he did have ties into a lot of the companies that he'd said, "Oh, we need to go invest in solar energy," and I'm also invested personally in the stake of these solar energy companies.
Yeah, and the big oil. That's why I always think it's really funny when people are like, "Oh, you're getting money from big oil."
Yeah.
Well, big solar and big oil are the same companies. And they're hedging their bets, and so because legislation is making energy companies adapt.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's complete market distortion from by the government,
and so it's you can't take solar money either.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah.
But what I want is the cleanest, crystal clear water, the cleanest air. We have the best, lowest number in carbon emissions, which is a big standard that I notice Obama goes with all the time. Not Joe. I haven't heard Joe use the term because I'm not sure he knows what it represents or means.
Oh, my God. That's just so funny.
I know.
I mean, I do enjoy a good political dig. I'm not going to lie.
Me too. That's why, it's so funny because, people always said, we don't want a robotic political person.
Yeah.
That's by the numbers. And
that's what Trump is. Yeah.
The rhetoric.
And now everyone's
rhetoric.
Oh, he's the biggest thing and problem in the world because he's not. And
my kids.
Yeah.
How will my kids go to school knowing that their president
talks like this?
Yeah, is mean.
He talks like a regular human being. How can we think this?
He could start 5 wars and he's not being presidential because he's not bombing Syria. But his rhetoric is just terrible.
I have a lot of views on that. For the most part, we don't talk about war here, but
for sure.
I definitely do have a lot of thoughts on the Syria thing, which we can get into offline.
Yeah, not recording.
And we have the best carbon emission numbers that we've had in 35 years under this administration. We are working so well with industry, but here's what we can't do. Look at China. how filthy it is. Look at Russia. Look at India. It's filthy.
Okay, so a lot of people will say, like, look at what China's doing with their renewable energy initiatives and all that. So I went to China maybe 4 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I've been there. We landed in Beijing. And what just blew my mind more than anything in the world is I get off the plane and I'm in the terminal. And the side of the terminal was just a giant glass pane. So you can just look out into the runway and all that. And there was literally so much pollution that I could not see from the front of the plane to the end of the plane.
Wow.
I could only see halfway through the plane. And then when we were driving from the airport to our hotel, they had to have their windshield wipers on the entire time because there was so much soot in the air that it had to constantly clear out the windshield. And when I was looking from the side of the highway, I couldn't see what was like after the highway. You'd see a little street, and then I couldn't see any of the buildings. Visibility was literally 30 to 40 feet. So when anyone talks about how China is just leading the way in a nice, clean future, I just think like you are so far disconnected from the reality of what is actually going on there.
There's a famous joke about Beijing. And it's they say that it's cleaner to smoke a cigarette in Beijing, because at least you're breathing the air through a filter.
Oh my god!
But no, exactly. And once again, that's the environment. So they're leading the way on green energy, but you can't see 10 feet in front of you.
Yeah, no, it's insane. And I mean, they're building a ton of new coal plants there, and the issue isn't coal plants. The issue is generally manufacturing.
Well, that's a great point. Great point that I think we should touch on is that they kind of go hand in hand. So like solar voltaic and wind are like intermittent power.
Okay.
So, and you can't, it's like, because people say like, oh, the sun shines. No, the sun shines in the morning and it comes down at night.
Yeah.
And you got to find a place to store it and use it. And then, at the same time, as people pretend to care about the environment, but they're not going to not watch TV at 8 p.m. And
no.
they got their routine at 6 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is if you have all renewable energy, you have to back it up.
Well, they have numbers.
They have numbers.
If you look at Germany, is a great example. They've increased the amount of solar. They're the huge green hero. Oh, we love Angela Merkel.
Yeah,
they've increased I think solar panels by 50%.
Yeah,
but they used more fossil fuels.
Do they really?
Yeah, even as a percentage. Because you need natural gas backup or some sort of backup for the other times of day, and even more so.
Yeah, the wind doesn't always blow and the sun doesn't always shine. And then you look at what's going on in California right now.
Oh, and they got less. And so in that same year, this could be 2017, 2018, but the point still stands the same, is that Germany got less sun.
Okay, really?
And so it's it doesn't matter. You could have all the panels in the world, which is terrible for the environment.
Oh, I mean, the rare earth metals that go into that. And I mean, you touched about this earlier when we were talking before the podcast, just about how these renewable forms of energy use rare earth materials and metals that don't come from.
Trump should have bragged about that. Yeah. That's a huge issue that so if we want to talk about energy and because I'm all about solutions. I'm in the industry, but we need to have a real conversation. Yeah. Because to rely on internet power, the only way to actually make it work is you need a battery.
Oh yeah.
To store the excess power, whatever. And batteries are you need cobalt, which is only in Congo. Okay. The former dictator there had $5 billion. They just redid the constitution. I think they have it's some wild, it's like a mixed democracy or something. Okay. Where the president doesn't have power. So it's just a huge mess. And there's 35,000 child slaves as young as 6 digging for cobalt. Ugh. Yeah. So actually, Apple, Facebook, they've been sued for child endangerment. That's terrible. Yeah. And so when we're talking about, hey, we want to go in this direction, we want to go solar voltaic, we want to go windmill. My question is just how many more child slaves? And are you cool with that? Are you cool with 35,000? But if you want more Joe Biden, do you want to so it's like a double dip. We're not only empowering one dictators and seedy businesses. Yeah. Because they have presidents, but there's just corruption cases every year. Oh yeah. But then so we're empowering Congo, and then we're also empowering China, because China through the Rust Belt Initiative just started investing in all these rare earth energy minerals, and they have complete dominance. The government, you can take the government's word, you don't have to believe them, but they say of all alternative energy, mainly solar and wind, 80% of the parts come from China. Wow. Financially. And I mean, chase back currently, obviously China and the United States, our tensions are ramping up in terms of this national security issue. Yeah. And so one of Trump's greatest accomplishments, and it wasn't really his accomplishments, it was technology, is that America became energy independent for the first time ever. And so this is to me scary, because they're literally arguing, let's go backwards. And because it's not just cobalt, because lithium too. That's what I was kind of tripped up. The lithium triangle, which is South America. Okay. And so it's Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. and Bolivia just had a coup, and they're in the middle of just a terrible, crazy situation.
So like,
so on a national, so there are some national security and just like ethical, because you don't want to empower child slaves.
No, you absolutely don't.
And in China, which is literally committing genocide versus the Uyghurs.
Yeah.
And so when they have a moral high ground conversation on like, oh, you don't care about the climate because you don't want to change the weather, like you don't care about the child slave.
No, I actually think that's a very valid point.
And then also the environment, because it's a not in my backyard thing, is like, because we could be, and we are starting to, is where and how much we're starting to mine for lithium in Arkansas.
Are we really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, Trump's actually been doing a good job of making us go energy independent across the board.
Which I
the
think
solar panel tariffs, by the way.
Wait, what do you mean?
So China's just completely dominated the actual, because when people say solar energy, like that's why I like to say solar photovoltaic. Okay. Because we're talking about solar energy, we're not talking about solar energy is light. Solar energy is like, it's like I'm cooking a egg on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
But solar voltaic is still it's a kind of it's a effect where you're converting light into voltage.
Yeah.
And it takes objects. It's not,
it's not magic.
It's not magic. It's mostly silicon, and silicon is oil. it's like a scary movie.
Yeah, right.
And then also just the process is they don't just drop in out of nowhere.
No, it takes a massive amount of energy just to get these, like,
especially if it's in China, because that's the thing too, is like that really hurts the solar voltaic argument.
Yeah.
If we're receiving it from China, because you're already starting. If you want to talk about carbon points, you're losing a lot of carbon points on the trip over.
Oh yeah. No, I've looked into it before, and the amount of like carbon dioxide that's released into the atmosphere from the manufacturing
ships.
To the to shipping it to the United States to actually installing it is just something like, it's a massive amount. And
but he slapped a tariff on China a year or two ago.
Did he?
Which was great, because that is a national security issue.
Okay.
It's like certain states are saying that, like they're like in Illinois, we have the Future Energy Jobs Act. Yeah. And there's a bunch of states, Maryland, that have mandates that we need X amount of energy from clean sources. Whether it be burning trees or windmills.
Which is not clean.
It's not. And so, but the law is the law. And if it's you're in a situation where we're forced to buy from China, that's a national security.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
Quality issue too.
Let's see what they got next here.
Yeah.
The air is filthy. The Paris Accord, I took us out because we were going to have to spend trillions of dollars, and we were treated very unfairly. When they put us in there, they did us a great disservice. They were going to take away our businesses. I will not sacrifice tens of millions of jobs, thousands and thousands of companies because of the Paris Accord. It was so unfair. China doesn't kick in until 2030. Russia goes back to a low standard, and we kicked in right away. It would have been. It would have destroyed.
I want to bet you $100,000, but if I lose the bet, I don't have to pay you. That's the Paris Accord. It's all these crazy rules that just America followed. No one actually had to follow it. And there's no consequence clause. If there is, bring someone put in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, people will always say that the Paris Climate Accords, it wasn't binding. So, which first off, if it's not binding, then what's the entire point of it? Yeah, that makes no sense. Like you clearly, the people that wanted the Paris Climate Accords want it to be binding, and they want us to follow it. And then even people that were instrumental in developing it has said it's largely a wealth transfer. Yeah. And my issue is then that we'll go ahead and we'll say like, all right, we're going to help these third world nations develop a renewable energy future. And I think that's just the most paternalistic, evil thing that we could possibly do.
The most like doing harm.
Yeah.
No, where there's like literally people that are like struggling to survive to say, hey, we're going to take away any energy source. Yeah. Period.
And first off, we went through an industrial revolution here, which it was a dirty time in American history, but we did it because it allowed us to advance our standard of living and our economic stability to a degree we've never seen before. And now that we're saying like, oh yeah, no, we may have gone through this. And then as we got wealthier, environmental stewardship became a more important concern for us.
A lot of great African nations, most of the better ones, like not the Congos.
Yeah.
No offense to Congo. There isn't really like the same kind of electric grid that we have here. Oh, absolutely. So it natural gas and like diesel generators are very common. Yeah. And so for like kind of to come in from like America to be like, you can't do that.
Yeah, no, it's
count your kilowatts.
No, like if they have to go with dirty coal plants for a period of time, and I imagine as they become more wealthy, they would move away from that kind of thing. And when I say dirty coal, I just mean like there's a degree of there's cleaner coal, and you can improve these plants as you become more wealthy. But Yeah, no, it's just such a like first world paternalistic view of how these nations should develop, and I think we should have no say on that.
And dangerous, because I'm a social justice warrior, believe it or not.
Yeah,
because and energy is the most ultimate social justice issue.
Yeah,
because like people talk about coal and and wind and solar. At the end of the day, though, it doesn't matter. Energy can come from anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a lot of places, people use dried animal droppings.
Do they really?
You could use a lemon. You could use a potato. You could use anything.
Okay,
a potato chip. Like this, is actually a funny story. I guess we have time for it.
Yeah, go for it. I'm very curious.
Yeah, no. It's like the last time my dad was ever called as a government witness, because I've been in energy for 5 generations.
Okay.
And because there is no barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Which is why it's awesome, and so many people have become wealthy or have careers and legacies.
Yeah.
Because there is no discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
You can make 6 figures and not have a college degree.
Yeah.
And they want to end that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about. They talk about.
They'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but the story is, my dad was we were in the biodiesel.
Okay.
Actually recycling it. We would take the glycerin and resell the glycerin.
Okay.
But like he was called as a government witness in a biodiesel fraud case.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of energy fraud.
Yeah.
Some of it's legal, a lot of it's not legal. There was like a $400 million energy fraud case like a year ago. It didn't even make the news. But like anyway, so he was called as a government witness because this guy was basically improperly saying what diesel is.
Okay.
Like maybe he was saying this, this cup is oil or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know the particulars.
Yeah.
But basically the government called my dad to kind of be as like the science character witness.
Okay.
And the government lawyer like gets out like a bag of potato chips.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I want to ask you a question. Like, could this be energy?
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, like the vegetable oil is like the number 1 ingredient in that. You can just put it in the oven, like draw it out, run your car on it. Yeah, 100%. No, but energy is the most non-discrimination thing ever. There is no coal watt. There's no potato chip watt. There's no solar watt.
I mean, the measurement of food is calories, which is a form of energy.
Exactly,
like,
joules. Yeah, that's what calories are measured in. Yeah, but and so it's very anti-science. The party of science is very anti-science. When you're trying to offer any sort of restrictions. And it's times 1,000 when we're talking about Africa.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree.
Like, come on, man. Maybe Kenilworth, kid. I'm okay for maybe some laws in Kenilworth for energy standards. And reduce is the main thing. They never talk about that. Like, so what if we have more of any kind of power, if we're using more?
Wait, sorry, what?
Like reduce, reuse, recycle?
Oh, yeah.
They never want to talk about consumption.
Oh, okay.
Because people might be watching TV.
Well, they want our energy consumption to go down. You see articles during this coronavirus, so it's like, hey, this is how we can learn to live with less.
Yeah.
And my response to that is like, okay, so depression rates are skyrocketing, suicides are skyrocketing, alcoholism is skyrocketing, drug use is skyrocketing, and people are generally unhappy. And this is the example? Because I think that's insane.
Yeah. And it's funny too because they're very into cryptocurrency. A lot of people on the left. Oh, and that's just the biggest waste of energy.
It's literally. I mean, I've looked into it because I was thinking like, oh, maybe I should mine cryptocurrency. And the amount that you pay to like mine 1 Bitcoin in a year is pretty much completely negated by the energy cost of mining that Bitcoin.
Well, if you watch the show Billions, and this is real. This happens in real life. Yeah. So like it's like it's dangerous because it could take down the grid. It's because so if you're mining cryptocurrency, it's like anything, like just like oil. So if the cost of cryptocurrency is below the cost to mine it, you don't mine it, right? Yeah. And the only thing it really is electricity because all crypto mining is a server running. Mm-hmm. And so let's say the cost of Bitcoin goes down and the cost to like turn on your computer and mine it is higher than that. Yeah, you shut it off. Yeah, but like governments need a plan, and so you have this huge mega user that could be demanding like 100 megawatts at any moment. And then they just like disappear overnight, and that really could screw up grids. And then vice versa. Let's say it goes from 0 to 100. Yeah. And then blackout. Huh. And blackouts, they kill people and they cost billions of dollars.
Oh yeah, I mean, what's going on in California with the forest blackouts is insane.
It's all about reliability.
Oh, agreed.
And Bitcoin and cryptocurrency really isn't reliable.
Huh. Okay, I've never actually heard that point of view.
Yeah. No offense.
No, it's all right.
Because I know what anyone watching is into cryptocurrency. Don't kill me.
I'm sure some of the people here.
Don't go on Silk Road. It's okay.
You ready? We have done an incredible job environmentally. We have the cleanest air, the cleanest water, and the best carbon emission standards that we've seen in many, many years.
Vice President
Biden. We haven't destroyed our industry.
I'm ready for Joe Biden.
2 minutes to you, uninterrupted.
Climate change and climate warming, the global warming, is an existential threat to humanity. We have a moral obligation to deal with it. And we're told by all the leading scientists in the world we don't have much time. we're going to pass the point of no return within the next 8 to 10 years.
That's like some Monty Python crap.
I
love talking to scientists about that. They're like, because it was like last year was like the 25th hour. Then it was like the year before that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah. So actually, I prepared a couple things about this. Just say,
Yeah.
like, it's not the first time we've been told that we're about to hit the point of no return. So here's a couple quotes I took. This comes from the United Nations in 1989. A senior UN environmental official says entire nations could be wiped off the face of the earth by rising sea levels if the global warming trend is not reversed by the year 2000. Is Madagascar still a thing?
Yeah,
That's still there, right?
Venice, right?
Yeah, right. So we haven't lost any nations yet. And then, all right, this one comes from Reuters in 2009. It is now 12 years since Kyoto, which is the Kyoto Protocol, obviously, was created. This makes Copenhagen the world's last chance to stop climate change before it passes the point of no return.
We've used so much more carbon since then.
I know. No, it's only increased.
It's kind of like we did the opposite. We're like, aha! Like, we're going to use more.
Which
UN Climate Accord.
It's been fine. If you also look, the amount of like global greening is an actual real phenomenon, and the crop yields in nations around the world has just steadily increased as carbon dioxide has increased in atmospheric concentration.
And if it's an existential threat, why is he talking about anything?
That's okay. I recorded a video earlier today. If you all haven't checked it out,
what are we talking about? It's an existential threat.
Seriously, like who cares about the marginal
everything.
tax return or marginal income like tax when we're gonna die in 8 years?
And you know what my favorite thing?
What?
Is all of their solutions are we need to start a committee.
Yeah.
Like you look at all their plans, like they always begin like we're gonna have a committee.
So we're gonna just form more bureaucracy.
Pay $60 million for
Yeah.
to give us advice.
When Bernie Sanders would say like we only have 2 years to save humanity from climate change, and also like and we need free college. I'm like, why? We have 2 years. Like, isn't college just going to use more energy? Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, you're right. Also, so you're building human capital so that when people die, they know about ancient Greek mythology, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think we should learn about.
Yeah, and I think most people would agree that it's okay to compromise.
Yeah,
right. Like it's okay to compromise if you have an existential threat.
Yeah,
like the world's gonna end. You might be able to compromise on a few things.
Yeah.
So like, what do you want to compromise on? Like, free college or free jobs or like
that's
this crazy stuff. That's the crazy deal. Yeah. Like, no, we're not. No, the world's not going to end unless we get free college and free healthcare and guaranteed jobs.
That's crazy.
And make sure that that environmental has to have like a racial, social focus. And they always add stuff where I'm like, I get it, but
I know.
But that is an existential crisis.
This one's always made no sense to me, but they'll say that like climate change is a racial justice issue. And then the way I think about that is if you look at like the socioeconomic status of certain races, like white people are generally more affluent in terms of just wealth.
Well, go to an oil rig, like just like most, because that's why it's so elitist and just like terrible. And it's like for Joe Biden, he says later where he's like, oh, well, we'll just replace them with environmental jobs. Yeah, there's like especially fossil fuels has really provides so much economic mobility to people of different races, different economic. Yeah, because you don't need college degrees and all that. Yeah, no one cares about your sexuality. Yeah, if you could bring the power.
Well, the best way,
drill, baby, drill.
Here's the way I look at it. The best way to bring people together is through the free market. Because, for example, in New York, you could have just like a highly Jewish person just hail a cab. I guess I'm a little outdated here. I don't know how much cabs are still a thing. And then like a Muslim driver will come pick you up. They may have diametrically opposed views, but the driver will drive the person to where he wants to go. The person will pay him. Maybe they'll talk a little bit, and then everyone goes their way. Yeah. Like the way to bring people together is through commercial exchange.
Well, it's funny because the Bible, when they talk about justice, it's usually in a financial sense.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And so like, and a lot of the issues, so like when people are like, oh, you only care about money, like everything that you talk about costs money.
Yeah.
Like they're like, we want free college.
Yeah. I mean,
we want free healthcare. Has to be a right.
But it's free, Max.
Yeah. No. So there's money being exchanged. And so a lot of their issues, like in like, like certain, like, women weren't equal pay.
Yeah.
So that's a financial right there.
Oh yeah. No. And also, I mean, when you actually look at a lot of that stuff, it's a total crap stat.
Yeah. No, but like I'm saying their mindset is already financial.
Oh yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. Let's hear what Joe Biden had to say.
Yeah.
Former years of this man eliminating all the regulations that were put in by us to clean up the climate, to limit the limit of emissions will put us in a position where we're going to be in real trouble. Here's where we have a great opportunity. I was able to get both all the environmental organizations as well as labor, the people worried about jobs, to support my climate plan. Because
are we surprised?
Are you just allowed to lie? Like everyone's like Trump lie count. He just said we're going to clean up the climate.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. He got all the environmental groups, all of them.
Which is also like I'm sure that the Sierra Club is more behind the Green New Deal than Donald Trump. Like I don't know how strong of a point that is to people, but that's like, okay, yeah, all the groups that say we need to move completely away from fossil fuels agree that we should move away from
cash
fossil
for
fuels.
clunkers.
Oh, okay.
And people that were going to give like you literally just it was money programs. We're just like, imagine if you're an emission tester.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna be really hard to get them on board.
Yeah.
Like, and like people that sell appliances and I was not a cash for clunker fan because I just saw how people.
Wait, so go into that a bit more. I'm not 100% certain.
You don't remember cash for clunkers?
No, not really.
They would just give you money to like exchange like bad appliances and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so really?
Yeah, cash for clunkers.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It feels like I should just go on Craigslist, buy a bunch of
Obama phones. Cause like, and I know the other side of it. Like I knew a guy that sold Obama phones.
Really?
Yeah, he got $10 a phone.
Huh.
And so I like free market because it's funny because liberals kind of like say like, oh, the free market is terrible. It brings out the worst nature.
Yeah.
They're creating situations where it's the worst type of free market.
Oh yeah. I mean, another thing was I believe during the
Obama phone
era,
salesman is kind of a tough. Doesn't bring out the best.
So
I love the guy that did it.
During the Obama era, you were able to buy fuel efficient vehicles and then get like a tax rebate or a tax write off. Now, if I understand this correctly, you were actually able to buy golf carts for a low price, and due to the fact that they were considered fuel efficient, you would get a tax write off that was greater than the cost of the golf cart. So you could actually acquire a golf cart and they get a write off on your tax returns that would make you money while you acquired a vehicle. I thought that was just the funniest, government market distortion in the world.
And they got rid of the EV one. I drive an EV.
Oh yeah, you're driving a Tesla, right?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
but it's not. There's cobalt in there, so I support child
labor. Come on, man.
Yeah, not good for the environment.
Doing a little Joe Biden reference there.
Come on, man. No, but yeah, they got rid of the EV tax credit too.
Okay, did they?
It used to be. I think it used to.
It
used to be really. They used to give you a lot, and then
it was like thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and then it went from like to 2 and then 1.
Which also another thing. So
I got in at the wrong time.
I mean, most electric vehicles, they do cost more than a traditional vehicle, correct?
No, there's a huge spectrum.
There's a spectrum?
Huge spectrum.
Okay.
And mine's I got the Model 3.
Yeah.
Which I think starts at 35 now.
Okay. Yeah. I was actually because I'm part of my thought process there, and I guess this is wrong, but I kind of assume that those vehicles are more expensive than traditional cars. So then you're providing these tax credits to generally richer people that are buying more. But I guess if there's a big enough spectrum, then
there is. I'm a fan, and natural gas vehicles are also cool. And once again, because like there's two debates. There's like Tesla's a fun, cool car.
It's a cool car. Yeah, well, they actually provide a cool product. Like, I have no issue with electric cars or anything like that. I just have an issue with the government coming in and forcing people to drive.
And I have no issue with solar panels. Like my energy solution, I think, is all across the board. You got to use the resources that you have.
Yeah, no,
I like efficiency.
Agreed.
Like,
and I have literally no issue with renewable energy. Like if we can actually come up with a way where renewable energy
change the name. Let's change the name.
Yeah, right.
Because just white trees.
Yeah,
they renew.
That's fair.
Yeah, no, they like just the words, just really, climate change. And
I mean, it was global warming until global warming stopped, so then it became climate change.
It got cold.
Yeah, right. It got cold.
It was that negative 40-degree day. They're like, I think it's climate change.
I mean, at least the 1970s global cooling.
And how Orwellian is that? It's like getting a debate on, do you believe in climate change?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I think it stays 75 degrees just forever.
Most ridiculous thing in the world. Like this guy's a climate change denier. Two things about that. One, who the hell goes outside and says it's been the exact same every single day?
Exactly.
Two, when someone says climate change denier, what does that make you think of? It's Holocaust denier.
Yeah.
It's absolutely meant to
Well, it's actually there's a terrible video that we should make fun of one day.
Yeah.
And it's like we're both Jewish.
Yeah.
Half. Yeah.
Full. I'm half. Yeah.
No, but you see how you're in the tribe.
I'm in the
tribe. We could be offended by Holocaust jokes. But there was a fellow, a Jewish kid that's an activist.
Yeah.
And I was a little disappointed that he, like, even though he is Jewish, try to like compare his grandma going through the Holocaust to like climate change.
I mean, that's absurd.
It's like really disrespectful.
No, it actually is. It's actually pretty offensive. And then when people say like, oh, this is not related to the climate thing, but when they say he's literally Hitler, like that's immediately when I'm just like, okay, anything that you say both before and after that is now null and void. I mean, if that's literally the way that you view Trump, like Trump is not going out and committing genocide.
It gets personal.
Oh yeah,
and it's very ridiculous. Funny. I very rarely hear it from fellow Jews. It's usually like non-Jews lecturing me on Nazism.
Yeah, and
I'm like, it sounds like you, like falsely accusing me of stuff, and coming from that. Yeah. But
let's hear what Biden's got.
Yeah.
Because what it does, it will create millions of new good-paying jobs. We're going to invest in, for example, like
a Q Cops causing that because I'm in this industry, and it's like, I wish they were good-paying jobs, but like a lot of the cleaner energies aren't like. So if you were in oil and natural gas, like that's a legacy. in a career. You could work your way up, make 6 figures, then maybe your kid joins that, whatever.
Okay.
A lot of these solar jobs are and they're supposed to be temporary by design because you install the panel and then they're done for 30 years, right? Yeah. And like
interesting.
So that like if you look at states like Massachusetts and Illinois that even are getting a ton of money for solar, those jobs go away the next year. And they go down 50%.
Well, and then that's
it's a huge and a very long. I wish it was a quick sales cycle, but it's not for 2 reasons. Is one, huge upfront capital investment with like logistical concerns. Like, do you have a flat roof? Do you have room? So so there's logistics, and then the number one biggest determining factor in making a solar voltaic purchase is how much money you're getting from the government. Okay, and that's a question mark. Like they literally, it's like they'll go like, well, we'll cover up to 80%. Like imagine buying a car and you're budgeting for the car, and they're like, you can get the car's 40,000, but it could be 5. and we'll tell you weeks later.
That's insane.
So it's a tough. So imagine from the perspective of someone that actually has a solar job. Of that sales cycle.
I see what you're saying. So it's like no one really knows.
Imagine doing that. Like I'm the best salesman on earth. I get you. The customer wants it. I do it. Whatever. But now the government's saying we're not giving you any money, or you have to wait. It's tough. And then you did all this work, whatever. And it's a one-time, forever.
No, I mean, and also just
not good jobs.
Honestly, I haven't heard that point of view, and that's very
not many careers.
Okay,
like a lot of careers in oil and gas, not many careers in solar. And I'm speaking with someone who kind of has a career in solar.
I mean, you are in it.
No, we're like all around energy solutions.
Okay,
so
what company do you work for? Just out of interest.
Rice Utility.
Oh, okay. It's nice. You work for the company.
50,000 charging stations on our highways so that we can own the electric car market of the future. In the meantime, China is doing that. We're going to be in a position where we're going to see to it that we're going to take 4 million
Trump actually tried to get that done.
Building
charging stations.
He tried to get in a bipartisan way. He really just doesn't get any credit from the media. To get $1 billion for charging stations.
Also, I don't really want the government doing that, just because I don't really think that people that have no.
The law was extreme too.
What?
The law was even more extreme. It was like there was kind of a mini Green New Deal. That was being pushed by Murkowski and Joe Manchin. Okay. And like it was like a combination of like a bunch of bills. Really? And like what they were gonna do, which could have been like too extreme for me, way too extreme for me. Is like force all new government vehicles. To either run on natural gas or electric. Really? And that's way too far.
That's
like federal government vehicles. Huh. So the IRS could be knocking on your door in a Tesla. But it didn't pass. But sorry. Trump's actually is more on the left on that issue.
That's interesting.
So Biden's talking about it. Trump's doing it.
We're about to get to the part where he talks about retrofitting houses and all that. And that
that was the best part of the Green New Deal.
In the meantime, China is doing that. We're going to be in a position where we're going to see to it that we're going to take 4 million existing buildings and 2 million existing homes and retrofit them so they don't leak.
Okay, I just passed out thinking about how much that would cost.
Oh yeah, that's.
I just had a little. I'm not right. I got to recollect myself. What?
Okay, so
and then they have to manage it too. Like, so that's the thing too. It's like it's not that simple.
There's so many issues, and like here's the way. He'll say like, "Oh no, look, we're going to create so many jobs when we retrofit these 4 million buildings and 2 million homes." But the way I look at that is the broken window fallacy, which I'll just briefly go through for our listeners. So the broken window fallacy is essentially this: it's like if you have a young boy who throws a baseball through his family window, some people argue that it's a benefit to the community. The reason being, so that kids' parents will have to go out and find a worker, pay that worker who will come in, fix the window, and then he'll have money that he can go spend on some other good or service. So the issue there is just that, for one, that worker isn't actually creating a new good. They're not producing anything. They're just maintaining what a current good is. And that good didn't actually need to ever be broken. So for the retrofitting houses, like we don't actually need to do this. So
that didn't even make sense. Like what the heck? He literally is just saying that because what he's talking about is kind of like there's a lot of wasted energy. Yeah. If you have a door open and then your AC's windows on, whatever. Yeah. But he's talking about so let's say you're getting natural heat or natural cooling, whatever. It would potentially save energy costs. Okay. But that takes a lot of you have to people have to be actively managing their houses and stuff. Yeah. And that's kind of like some Windexy type solution. That's what's gonna do it. We're just gonna make sure that no air leaks out. Yeah. And then we're good.
Also,
then we're good. 4 billion homes.
I'm sure part of what they're saying is, I think it was 2 million homes, 4 million buildings, but I don't trust these numbers that they're throwing out there. But so I think the other thing is then when, say if part of it has to do with insulating houses or whatever, people can't be there when this is being done. So are they going to argue that like, oh, because we're forcing families to go stay in hotels or something, we're actually stimulating the economy because they're going, I mean, that's
and
just
it's being done too.
Yeah,
like a lot of
such a
utilities
misuse.
offer incentives right now
Really?
to insulate your house.
Well, yeah, and if it's done through the free market, then I'm yeah.
And it's not. It's mixed. It's a little yes.
It's a little government money in?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like he's just so out of touch.
Okay.
That he's talking about a half baked like.
Yeah.
Some like high school kid is like went on Twitter and was like, let's just insulate the houses and then we're good.
Yeah. I mean,
and he's
it's just I don't think that the government should force anyone to do that. And if it makes sense for a family to do it because they can save money and energy costs, then absolutely do it.
Yeah.
But we can't have the government coming in and forcing it upon people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As much energy, saving hundreds of millions of barrels of oil in the process and creating significant number of jobs. And by the way, the whole idea of what this is all going to do, it's going to create millions of jobs, and it's going to clean the environment. Our health and our jobs are at stake.
That's going to make me a millionaire. It's not going to create millions of jobs.
I don't know why I'm supporting this guy.
That
I might vote Biden.
My plan will, in fact, create 18.6 million jobs, 7 million more than his. This is from Wall Street. And
this is from Wall Street.
I'll create $1 trillion.
This is from Wall Street.
Yeah. I mean,
18.25
we know that Wall Street doesn't work with the government to enrich themselves in any way. Like, that's not a thing.
I implore people, anytime someone mentions a figure or stat, always read the studies. Because a lot of times they're just completely biased.
I mean, you'll see like solar panels or solar energy is cheaper than
that
coal.
came out today.
And
that came out today.
Really?
Yeah.
I know.
And it's a lot of BS. And also like what we're talking about, like with cobalt and lithium.
Yeah.
That's a limit.
Okay.
They never include. They just like magically say that like that's so can scale
amount of it. Yeah.
And then also the environmental issues right now aren't as big a deal because you can go to the perfect places.
Yeah.
But so if solar scales,
yeah, like
the cost is actually going to increase.
Yeah.
Because there's like a lot of just crazy problems. Like there's a limited supply of cobalt in the world.
Yeah. Okay, so
like even if it is theoretically
so you're
cheap,
saying as we have like a lesser supply, the price of it will drastically increase.
Exactly, supply and demand.
Supply and demand. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they don't really put that in their figures. And then also, I think I need to read the study. It's like 127 pages.
Yeah,
it came out today.
Okay,
but like I'm pretty sure that like when people say that solar's cheaper, they're usually factoring the government money.
Oh, they absolutely are.
Yeah,
always.
And then they make the assumption that they never make the assumption that they can blow up, which they do.
Yeah.
Tesla had some solar panels that were blown up in Walmart.
Did they really?
On the roof.
Oh, that's
and so they assume they're going to run for 30 years perfectly. The sun's and they like you can't predict the weather for next week, and so you can't predict the amount of sun either.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then if you actually look at the amount of like subsidies that go to per like kilowatt hour of energy produced or something, it's infinitely higher on the renewable side. And then people say, oh, but fossil fuels are receiving subsidies, and I'll respond, well, they shouldn't be. None of it should be, in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think if fossil fuels received some subsidies, and so we do know that in older times, say the 50s or 60s, fossil fuels did receive a large amount of subsidies. Today, it largely goes to renewable energy. But just because
who benefits?
Well, the companies.
No, well, let's say you weren't so libertarian.
Yeah,
and like
that's gonna be tough.
And you want to argue just like to make a little moral issue for the oil subsidy.
Yeah,
and at least in that case, you're lowering the people's cost of living.
Yeah,
and national security because especially at that time,
like
oil were just from countries didn't want to do business.
I'm gonna mostly disagree with all of this. No,
you can disagree with it, but I'm saying now we go.
I understand your point of view.
But then we go to solar. You have none of that.
Yeah,
you have none of that argument. Only benefits rich people.
Oh yeah,
J.B. Pritzker has it on his horse house or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, people that aren't rich can't afford.
No, I'm with you. I'm not a subsidy guy.
Yeah, okay.
And there's a lot of fraud in subsidies.
Yeah,
and I think I mentioned in this podcast there was like a $400 million biodiesel fraud case.
Yeah, you mentioned that,
and it only got caught because it was like a Mormon cult situation.
Really?
And like one of the daughters escaped, and then it was the biggest energy scandal, money wise, in years, and it didn't get any coverage.
Really?
Yeah,
I literally heard nothing about that.
So energy, that's the thing too. So they everyone talks about how the environment, but they don't really report on the science.
Okay,
and we should be.
So,
because we could be having some cool discussions on cobalt and lithium.
But we're not going to talk. I mean, no one's going to talk about that.
We need to, though.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. I'm glad you are talking about it because I didn't know about it. But all right. So overall, we just went through both their opening statements. We're already at 47 minutes here.
Oh yeah.
What you think about both? Like, who do you think did better?
Oh, I think Biden. We didn't even get to the part, but spoiler alert, Biden says that we're going to get rid of
fracking. Yeah. All right. Wait. I'll skip ahead to it.
Oh no, that just okay. So Trump just won Pennsylvania.
All right. Let's see.
That was a chess move because it didn't matter. forget appearance. Just saying that, just financially, is threatening so many people.
Oh yeah, all right.
Like Ohio and Pennsylvania's economies.
It's coming right up in a few moments.
But solar doesn't quite have it yet. It's not powerful yet to really run our big, beautiful factories that we need.
It's so funny. It was big, beautiful.
Yeah.
So
well, it's intermittent, so we'll never get there.
But you know you have to back it up by conventional.
We're going to have the greatest economy in the world, but if you want to kill the economy, get rid of your oil industry. You want. And what about fracking?
All right, let me allow Vice President Biden to respond.
I never said I oppose fracking.
You said it on tape.
I
Guilty.
did show the tape. Put it on your website.
I'll put it on.
Put it on the website.
I released a video earlier today where I played this clip, and then I found the clip of Joe Biden going up to a little girl and being like, I guarantee you we will end the use of all fossil fuels, which, spoiler alert, does include fracking.
Well, fracking, well, that's another thing they don't understand is fracking is a technologically advancement.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're pro-science, that's one of the most important technologically advancements in the last decade.
It was absolutely incredible.
Bigger than the internet.
People used to say we were going to run out of oil.
Yeah, peak oil theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that fracking completely just busted that.
Absolutely. And I think we talked about this podcast earlier. It's decreased the need to expand.
Yeah.
So just for the environment, it's been great.
Oh no,
that's a very anti-science thing to say.
Well, that actually brings up another thing. If you're going to equal the amount of energy generated from a natural gas plant in terms of solar panels, I don't have the exact figure in front of me. I wish I did, but the amount of space that you'll actually have to use.
It's it's acres per megawatt.
Yeah, it's an inordinately
I'm blanking on the figures too.
Yeah.
No, but it's just it's kind of like replacing this phone with like an 80s telephone on steroids.
Yeah.
Like a beanbag couch phone.
Yeah, and
then you need to build a natural gas plant next to it as a backup source.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And also you're gonna have to destroy forests, natural habitats, if you're gonna just decide to go all windmills or all solar. It's going to be literally
maybe Massachusetts
destructive.
But a lot of Biden says all the environmental groups are behind him.
Yeah.
Like a lot of environmental groups are starting to kind of speak out.
Really?
And say you're going to indate the pipe. So how is the Dakota pipeline a big deal? But solar panels and windmills and the beautiful
the pipeline.
Dude, look at Congo. Sorry I get heated. Yeah. But yeah, if you look at Congo, before and after the mining, it's just so sad.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oof, I'm gonna have to check this out.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I've never understood why people are so against pipelines, because if we're gonna use natural gas and we're gonna get rid of pipelines, you're gonna just have to truck it across the country.
That was a great ad. I think that if you saw that one.
I didn't.
Where I think they all came together and they're they said the stat of how many trucks it would take.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, and
that's interesting.
Obscene.
And then that's gonna result in
electric trucks though. Electric trucks, of course.
Okay, which in the end you're still gonna be okay. But even if that's
the thing about the waste involved in that. We aren't really having a scientific conversation.
No, well, it's not a scientific conversation at all. It's an emotional conversation.
Yes, not I think what scares me is that we're losing the scientific method.
Yeah.
They talk about science as if science is a religion or cult in itself. It's not. It's they brawl. It was what's it called? The current wars. It wasn't the current plan or whatever, the current theories. No. Yeah. Tesla and Edison duking it out. And to this day. Elon Musk.
Be the science is on us. Also, I hate when people say all reputable scientists agree with me. It's first off, science is not a whole how many hands are being held up.
That's a scary thing to say.
It is. Yeah. No, it's an incredible consensus has literally nothing to do with science. Science is about the disapproval of theories.
Even flat Earth.
Yeah.
Which I'm not I'm not offending anyone.
I believe flat earther?
No, I'm a round earther.
Okay.
I'm a round earther, but to just say even on something like that, to say the scientific consensus is the Earth is round. That logically doesn't prove that the Earth is round.
Yeah, it means nothing. Yeah. I mean,
you gotta
go on an airplane and just look.
Look a mile. You can't. You see the curve or exactly.
Yeah. All right, so we're at the 51-minute mark. Yeah. I think we should probably wrap this up. But dude, thank you for coming on. This is a lot of fun. We gotta do this again.
I probably would be doing this at a wall.
Yeah.
No, I love. Yeah, I get really heated on energy.
Yeah.
And anyone out there, call me, email me.
Yeah.
And go on YouTube and look up energy videos.
Wait, so you have your own podcast and your own things that plug yourself. What do you got?
I do. I got Energy Tonight.
Okay. What's Energy Tonight?
We talk about energy. Not always at night.
Okay.
I just like the name.
Yeah.
Then I have Max Rice Tonight.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's my podcast. And then I have a political podcast called Rice and Beans.
And that's new, right?
That's new.
Just launched. And isn't your co-host someone kind of famous?
Beans from Stephen Anthony Lawrence from Even Stevens.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he's on the left. I'm kind of on the right. And that's important too. So if anyone was offended by what we say, I hope that we all have the same values. Because at the end of the day, I want efficiency.
I mean, yeah.
I want everyone to be richer, healthier, better looking.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and I want, success for everyone. So
yeah.
if we disagree.
Yeah, right. All right, well, listeners, thank you for joining us for this episode of the Heartland Daily Podcast. You can find us pretty much everywhere at this point: iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. I believe we're on Amazon, Spotify, maybe. I don't know. We're basically everywhere. Check out the podcast on YouTube. This was a video version. You can see our beautiful faces. If you could, head to iTunes, give us a 5-star review so you can help us spread the markets, the message of free markets and liberty around the world. Until next time, this is Andy Singer with Max Rice. Peace.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and consider donating to the Heartland Institute to support more vibrant free markets, greater individual liberties, and more videos like this one.